Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back to Minecraft with Lone Debater 7, and today we are going to be taking a look at Redstone Clocks. So, if you've played modded Minecraft, you almost certainly have encountered, pre-built redstone clocks where you can adjust the time manually, blah blah blah. Super easy to use, they take one block. Well, you can actually build them in vanilla just using redstone torches, and blocks. So the way these kind of work, pretty straightforward. So I've got a couple of different setups here. So I've got a 3 clock, a 5 clock, and then this is a 15 clock over here. So simply speaking, the way you make these, you need to have an odd number of redstone torches. So you'll have an odd number of blocks, kind of like this. And all you do is you throw a torch on a face of the block like that, and you just feed it into the next block in the chain. So this is going to build us a 3 input, or a 3 tick clock. So basically every torch you add increases the duration by a tick. So every 3 ticks this changes state. Since I don't know what the update time is for Minecraft, I want to say it's 4 ticks. So this is moving faster than you can actually tell. If you go to a 5, this is 5 ticks, so it's slightly longer than the in-game tick time, so you can kind of see it flashing around like this. And then if you go even larger to 15, it just means that it takes longer for the signal to go around. So what you can do with these is you can effectively build time management for automation if you want to. So one great use for clocks is to build an automated sugarcane farm, kind of like this. So this is kind of the trash way. They've added observers, we'll show that in a minute, but kind of what you do, you build your clock, and realistically it should probably be even bigger than 15. I just have it set to 15 because it's not too bad. It pulses every couple seconds here and pushes the piston, so if these grow in the time between, the pistons will push out. So really, you should expand this out and make it a bigger clock so it takes even longer. If you have maybe 127, something like that, that'll give you a pretty good duration on the delay between each piston pulse like this, and that in essence will allow time for the sugarcane to grow. And then once it grows up to a second height, this will push it off. You have a river going through of just flowing water next to it, so it'll bring the drops in. You can have it funnel into a hopper and put it into a chest. So that is how you can use just a basic clock to automate sugarcane farms. The other way you can automate sugarcane farms is with a simple circuit like this. This guy right here is called an observer. Basically what it does, if it detects anything directly in front of this face here, it will output a redstone signal from the back. So what I have is anytime this sugarcane here grows to 3 high, it will activate all of the pistons, which will then push and break the sugarcane, assuming it's more than 2 high, and yeah, so it'll drop. This is not the most effective method. Really, you should have them in lines with water next to the second high block on here. That way it can pick up the drops, all that noise. But in simple essence, this is how you would set it up. You have your observer on the 3, and then you just connect it into all your pistons. The reason why you want it on the 3 as opposed to the 2, if you put it in the block where the piston activates, as the piston activates, it will infinitely trigger this and basically turn it into an infinite clock, not giving the sugarcane time to grow. So that is how you build a little basic observer circuit to harvest sugarcane automatically, which is something you might want to do in vanilla so you can, automate your bookshelf production, paper, all that noise. Over here, I just wanted to show you a little fun use that you can do with a clock. So this is a 17 tick clock, and basically what I have is I built a little piston walkway thing. So you could use this kind of if you're building an adventure map, for example, and you want to add some challenge, you could build something like this. So basically, the way this works is as the clock pulses, it will trigger these sticky pistons, which will close the walkway. So I need to fill in some blocks on the left and right, but basically, if you're in front of the blocks that the piston's on, when it closes, it will smash you, and yeah, that's kind of how that works. So that's something you could use a clock for. The sugarcane farm's another thing you can use a clock for. But yeah, basically I just kind of wanted to show that off, sticking with our redstone series a little bit here, because clocks are definitely a useful tool when you're trying to automate things in vanilla. Like, it takes a fair amount of resources and it takes a fair amount of time, but you know, it is worth it if you want to be able to automate in vanilla without installing mods. This is kind of what you're left with to try to automate things like farms or whatever, or traps or anything like that. You can use clocks to kind of help you do it. You also, in theory, like if you built a big enough clock to where it ticks, like it changes state every time the day-night cycle goes over, so like when it goes from night to day, it'll tick, right? You could then in theory have it to where your door to your base is only open during the daytime and is always closed at night, so you don't have to worry about mobs walking in when they spawn. So that's another use. You would need a shit ton of redstone to make a clock of that scale, but it is something you can do. Just trying to give you a couple of examples of how you would actually apply this to something useful. Something to keep in mind, like let me just show you. So we can break these. If I connect these two clocks together, it should burn out. Yeah, so see, that locked the state because now we have 6 gates in here, and it's no longer an odd number. But I believe if we connect this 5 gate into this 6 gate that we just built, it'll have an odd number again, and it should be able to pulse. So there we go. We basically connected all of these guys together. It's no longer actually triggering this one because we connected the redstone in like that. What we'd need to do is something kind of like that, I think. And then I think we also need to branch this over like so it, you know, can control all these states, right? So just, you can play around with this and kind of get what you want. So this kind of like sped up the 5 gate more or less because we've added in these 2 smaller 3 gate sections. But yeah, so that, just a little overview on clocks. Pretty easy to set up, all things considered. I mean, this is probably, outside of the NOT gate, the easiest redstone circuitry to set up, I would say, because literally it's just a series of an odd number of NOT gates. So yeah, that is my coverage on redstone clocks. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like, comment, subscribe as always, and until next time, this has been Lone Debater 7, and we will see ya.